You fucked it. It's over. It's fucking over.
You want me to knock you in the head? Well, I want you to swear to God on the Bible that you walked on the moon. Okay. If you walked on the moon, we're given the opportunity to swear to God that you walked on the moon.
I'm going to give you the opportunity to get the hell knocked out of you so we can get along.
So why don't you just put the end to the record in the argument and put your hand on the Bible, swear to God you walked on the moon.
Mr. Sedgwick, knowing you, that's probably a fake Bible.
You really like it? You're the one who said you walked on the moon when you didn't. Calling a kettle black, if I ever thought of it. Saying I misrepresented myself.
Away from me.
You're a coward and a liar and a thief. You're a coward and a liar. You're a coward and a liar. And a liar.
Well, you're talking to the wrong guy. Why don't you talk to the administrator at NASA? We're passengers. We're guys going on a flight.
I don't hit people, but you're going to be on the deck unless you get on that now. I understand. Get the hell out of the pass.
Clive, take your stuff and get the fuck out. Why don't you quote me and say it's bullshit? When the shadows in her uncle, I don't give a damn about all that shit.
This is full of shit of lunar orbit being falsified.
Being falsified?
Correct. We got an unedited tape from a source at the Johnson Space Center.
That's totally nonsense. Mr. Seibel, you do not deserve answers. If you show this publicly, you're open for a lawsuit. Okay?
Now, this is strange. This is very strange. This is a legitimate NASA astronaut saying that we cannot go back to the moon. We don't have the technology, and it would be too painful to rebuild the technology. And then out of the other side of his mouth, he discusses going to Mars, going to Venus, going to Europa, going to all these little imaginary places that are actually unattainable for humans to go to. And I'm going to show you why. Now, David Yates' YouTube channel, he's a gentleman from the UK. He took this video. Now, you can see right here, there's an airplane below the airplane he's in, laying out a chemtrail. David Yates does a similar thing to myself and other channels where he discusses and attacks the fact that they're chemtrailing the living shit out of us and nobody seems to care. But the reason I saved this particular video is, do you notice anything right here? He's at 37,000 feet, which is incredibly high. It's higher than most airplanes, and it's actually higher than the planes that you can barely see whatsoever, even with the Nikon P900 that's chemtrailing. He's way, way, way up there. Now, the Earth isn't infinitely large. It's about 7,000 miles in diameter, and yet there's the horizon. See it? Because that's what it really is. It's not a ball floating through space doing this. This is what they tell you that we're doing. Now, pay attention to this, because this is absolutely laughable. Now, bear in mind, see this one right here? That's us. We're just rocketing through the atmosphere, and the sun's rocketing through outer space, and we're all dancing around, looking like sperm cells actually surrounding the ovarian egg, or whatever it is. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. But I'll tell you what. You see all this? It's bullshit. It's a big, steaming pile of bullshit.
You fucked it! It's over! It's fucking over!
Mr. Armstrong, I do realize that when you were on the moon, you had very little time for gazing upwards. But could you tell us something about what the sky actually looks like from the moon? The sun, the earth, the stars, if any, and so on?
The sky is a deep black when viewed from the moon, as it is when viewed from cislunar space, the space between the Earth and the moon. The Earth is the only visible object other than the sun that can be seen, although There have been some reports of seeing planets. I myself did not see planets from the surface, but I suspect they might be visible. The Earth is quite beautiful from space and from the moon. It looks quite small and quite remote, but it's very blue and covered with white lace of the clouds, and the continents are clearly seen, although they have very little color from that distance.
What about the sun? Do you see any trace of the corona?
No, the glare from the sun on the helmet visor was too difficult to pick out the corona. The only time we could see the corona was during an eclipse of the sun from the moon. That is, when we were flying through the moon's shadow and could observe the solar corona peeking out from behind the moon.
Looking at the photographs that you brought back, the coloured photographs of the moon's surface, it seems that the colour of the surface actually varies according to the angle from which you see it. Is this so? Does it do this?
Yes, it certainly does. It's a characteristic that we observe first while traveling around the moon in orbit. You can see that at the terminator, at the boundary between the black part of the moon and the lighted part of the moon, it was as if you were looking at a television set with the contrast turned to full contrast, very black and very white. As you moved further into the light, there were more and more shades of gray. But as you moved further, such the sun was higher above the horizon, you actually start to see the tans and browns appear, although at a very low level. Similarly, on the surface of the moon, the same characteristic is evident. You can see browns if the sun is high enough. Apollo 12, for example, landed while the sun was only 5 degrees above the horizon. So when they arrived, they saw no browns or tans anywhere, only fairly high contrast grays.
But you did?
But yes, I did. The sun was at 11 degrees. And Apollo 12 did also the next day when they arose from their sleeping period and the sun was higher. Of course, then the browns were observable to them.
When you were actually walking about on the moon's surface and kicking about a certain amount of dust, did you notice any local colour? And also, were you at all subconsciously worried about the possibility of unsafe areas?
Well, the color is a puzzling phenomenon on the moon, aside from the characteristics that I've already mentioned. You generally have the impression of being on a desert-like surface with rather light-colored hues. Yet when you look at the material at close range, as if in your hand, you find it's a charcoal gray, in fact, and we were never able to find anything that were very different from that color. I suspect that as we get more and more samples with future flights, we will see that there is, in fact, some color.
The obvious question is, okay, you've been a senior CIA officer, and do you believe this? Yes, I believe this. However, let me clarify that 90% of the people in CIA are good people trapped in a bad system, and there are at least 7 CIAs, okay? So CIA is not a monolithic organization. Also, when we, against the orders of President Truman, when Allen Dulles brought in all the Nazi scientists and so forth, they went to 2 places. They went to CIA and they went to the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, which in our world we call it not a space agency. And as Kathy O'Brien has said so clearly, that's where the bulk of the mind control has been done. So just to mention the 7 CIAs as a partial and very brief answer to your question, when Allen Dulles brought in all the Nazi scientists and so forth, they went to 2 places. They went to CIA and they went to the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, which in our world we call it not a space agency. And as Kat...
You fucked it! It's over! It's fucking over!
Ziemia rzeczywiście jest kulą zawieszoną w kosmosie?
Jest płaska. Tak jak oczekują. Nie spodziewałem się co prawda tego pytania, ale zapewniam pana, że jest płaska.
generał Mirosław Hermaszewski, jak dotąd pierwszy i ostatni Polak, który odbył lot orbitalny. Dziękuję serdecznie za rozmowę.
Dzięki. Dziękuję, kłaniam się. Jest płaska. Tak jak oczekują. Nie spodziewałem się co prawda tego pytania, ale zapewniam pana, że jest płaska.
Why has nobody been to the moon in such a long time?
Because we didn't go there, and that's the way it happened. Because we didn't go there.
Nie spodziewałem się co prawda tego pytania, ale zapewniam pana, że jest płaska.
And that's the way it happened.
For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, having done all, to stand.
In case there are any conspiracy theorists out there, how would you prove to us that you're in zero gravity?